Hey, listener name, you ever wonder how those websites get to the top of Google? Well, we're about to unlock one of the biggest secrets, meta tags. It's like sending secret messages to search engines.
It's fascinating how something invisible to the naked eye can make such a huge difference.
Right. So this material we have from Digmark, they're calling meta tags a website's hidden resume. I like that. It's a good way to think about it.
Definitely. And they really emphasize getting the details right, especially with the title tag, which actually, they say it's not technically a meta tag.
Wait, really? Not a meta tab. It's always grouped in with them. So what makes it so special that it gets its own category?
Think of it like the headline on the front page of newspaper. That's your title tag.
Okay, so first thing people see makes sense.
Exactly. It determines whether they'll click or keep scrolling. No pressure.
So how do we make that first impression count? What's Digmark's advice?
Strategic conciseness.
Yeah.
Keep it between 50 and 60 characters.
Short and sweet.
Exactly. And get your most important keyword in there. Closer to the beginning is ideal.
So it's like a headline writing masterclass, but
Yeah.
for my website. Got it.
Exactly.
Now what about meta descriptions? That little blurb under the title tag in the search results.
Ah, yes. Your meta description. That's your elevator pitch.
I only got a few seconds to make an impression.
Pretty much. You got about 150 characters to convince someone they absolutely need to click.
No pressure, right?
So,
So how do you make those 150 characters count?
Bigmark has a good system. Start with a strong hook. Something that connects to a problem your content solves.
Okay, so far so good.
Then tease the benefit they'll get from your content. And finally hit them with a call to action. Something to encourage that click.
So it's like this little content marketing puzzle you've got to solve.
In a way, you need the right keywords, the benefit, and that call to action, all within a specific character count.
This is why I bring in the experts. Speaking of driving traffic, Digmark also talks about meta robots tags. Is this where it gets really technical?
Not as complicated as it sounds. Think of those web crawlers that search engines use to index your site. They're like little librarians.
Okay, I can see that. And the meta robots tag is me giving them instructions.
Exactly. You decide which books those librarians should catalog, or in our case, which pages Google should and shouldn't index.
So I use index for the pages I want in search results, and noindex for things like, let me guess, thank you pages.
You got
Sure.
or internal pages that you don't want cluttering up the search results.
Makes sense. Now what about follow and no follow?
Good catch. That's you telling those librarian bots which paths to take through your site follow means they can follow links on that page. No follow says, don't worry about these links.
So if I have links that are helpful for navigation but not important for SEO, I can use no follow.
Exactly. It's all about guiding those search engine bots,
Yeah,
showing them what's most important.
I like it. Strategic guidance.
Okay.
We've covered desktop users, but what about mobile? Everyone's on their phones these days.
You're telling me. And that's where the meta viewport tag comes in.
Okay, this sounds like we're getting into responsive design territory.
We are. The viewport tag tells browsers how to display your site on different screen sizes. Super important for a good mobile experience.
Because nobody wants to be zooming in and scrolling sideways on their phone trying to read my content.
Exactly. Digmark recommends using with device width. That way your site automatically adjusts to the width of the screen.
Right.
And then initial scale 1, that sets the initial zoom level.
So it's about making it easy for those mobile users to find and enjoy my content.
Exactly. A smooth mobile experience can do wonders for your SEO.
Okay. We've covered title tags, meta descriptions, meta robots, and that all-important viewport tag. What else is essential before we dive into the world of social media?
Oh, there's one more tag we should touch on before we get to that.
Yeah.
The meta charset tag.
Charset?
Sure.
Okay. Now this sounds like we're getting into the weeds of website code.
It's simpler than it sounds. Promise. Basically, it tells the browser how to interpret and display the characters on your site.
So like, if my website has special characters or something, it makes sure they show up correctly.
Exactly. Especially important if you're using characters beyond standard English letters and numbers, or if your site is in multiple languages.
Ah, that makes sense. So what happens if I don't have this tag? Will my website just look like a bunch of gibberish?
It's possible. Some browsers might be able to figure it out, but why risk it? The meta charset tag is like a universal translator. Make sure everyone sees your content the way it's supposed to look.
Okay, so no weird symbols or anything. What do most people use for this tag?
Digmark recommends UTF-8. It's pretty much the standard these days.
UTF-8. Got it. So that's one less thing to worry about. All right, let's talk social media. I know when I share a link, sometimes the preview looks a little, well, Uninspired.
It's where Open Graph meta tags come in.
Open Graph. Okay, tell me more.
It's like having a social media stylist for your website.
Now that's a service I could use. So how does it work?
You use these tags to control how your content looks when it's shared on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all the big ones.
Instead of just a random link, I get a nice preview image and a description.
Exactly. It's all about making a good first impression.
And hopefully getting more people to click through. So do these tags have like specific names, or is it just Open Graph and that's it?
They have tags for each element you want to customize, like og.title for the title, og.description for the description, and og.image for the image.
So I can really fine-tune how my content looks on each platform. What does Digmark say about images? They seem pretty important for social media.
Absolutely. They say don't skimp on the visuals. You want something eye-catching that represents your content well.
Makes sense. It's like choosing the right book cover. A bland image won't grab anyone's attention.
Exactly. You want something that's going to stand out in a busy news feed.
This is making me realize that meta tags are more than just technical stuff. It's like a mix of SEO and psychology.
You got it. You're appealing to search engines and humans at the same time.
Okay, my brain is officially full. This has been super helpful, but how do I actually manage all of these tags? Especially if I have a larger website, it seems like a lot to keep track of.
Big Mark recommends some great tools. Google Search Console is a good place to start. It's free, and it gives you a ton of insights into how Google sees your site.
So I can see if I have any errors in my meta tags or if there are any areas for improvement.
Exactly. It's like a free website checkup from Google itself.
I like the sound of that free. What about more in-depth analysis?
You want to go deeper? There's a tool called Screaming Frog. It crawls your entire website and gives you a detailed report on every meta tag.
Screaming Frog. That sounds intense, but probably super helpful for finding any hidden issues.
It's a lifesaver for larger websites. But if you're on a platform like WordPress, there are plugins that can simplify things. Digmark recommends Yoast SEO.
Plugins. Okay, so even if you're not super technical, there are ways to make managing meta tags easier.
Definitely. And once you've got everything set up, don't forget to audit your meta tags regularly.
So it's not a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Not at all. SEO is always evolving. You've got to stay on top of the latest best practices. Think of it like tending a garden. You got to keep nurturing it if you want it to thrive.
I like that analogy. So besides forgetting to update them, are there any common mistakes people make with meta tags?
Definitely. One big one is duplicate content, using the same meta tags across multiple pages.
So each page needs its own unique meta description and title tag.
Exactly. Think of it like this. Every room in your house has a different purpose and style. Your meta tag should reflect that.
Okay, that's a good way to remember it. What other pitfalls should we avoid?
Another one is keyword stuffing. Basically trying to cram as many keywords as possible into your meta tags, even if it sounds unnatural.
Oh yeah, that's a big no-no. It's like trying to force a square peg into a round hole.
Exactly. Search engines can tell when you're doing that, and it'll hurt your ranking more than it helps.
So find that balance, keywords, but don't overdo it. What about those length guidelines we talked about earlier? Are those easy to mess up?
You'd be surprised. A lot of people make their titles and descriptions way too long.
Because nobody wants to read a novel in the search results. Just give me the highlights.
Right. Users are busy. They want information quickly. If your meta tags are too long, they'll just skip right over them.
So concise, compelling, and within the character limit. Easier said than done sometimes.
It's definitely an art form. But once you get the hang of it,
Yeah.
you'll be writing meta tags like a pro.
I don't know about that. But this deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about.
That's the goal. It's
Yeah.
all about taking those technical SEO concepts and making them, well, less intimidating.
You've definitely succeeded there. Any final words of wisdom from Digmark before we wrap things up?
Here's a question they pose. How can you use meta tags to not only attract visitors, but keep them engaged once they get to your site?
Because a click is great, but I want people to actually stick around and read my content.
Exactly. Think about the whole user experience, from that first impression in the search results to their journey through your site.
Make it valuable. Make it memorable. And make them want to come back for more. That's the dream.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
This has been great. Thanks for taking us on this deep dive into the world of meta tags.
It's always a pleasure to talk SEO.
And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us. We'll be back soon with another episode, unpacking even more digital marketing secrets. Until then, happy optimizing.